ChatGPT, can you tell me exactly, and I want you to give me facts. And the reason I don't search the internet because people have their own agendas. Can you tell me why Kenyans have a problem with Kenyan President William Ruto? And I will break down every single thing. Yes, everything was from what's it called? What's them things called? Tax bill, finance bill. Da da da. Give me all the facts so now I can address this um, publicly. All right, guys, we're gonna address this thing. You know, what I'm saying we're gonna address this thing. Guys, so I've been getting a lot of feedback from a lot of Kenyans, people in the public saying that, William Ruto is a bad person, he's a liar, he's been taking the country badly, healthcare is down, and I understand those things. I understand every single one of your points. So let's address them right here, right now. We're going to use ChatGPT because obviously ChatGPT is AI and stuff like that. So let's go. We're gonna invite people to come in. If they want to say something, they can come and say something. Yeah, let's go. Let's break it down. Let's spell this shit, man. Look at then I did. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's see what people are saying. Okay, cool. All right, cool. It says, let's pull up the photo. William Ruto apologize. Prophet and hustler, what the hell? Well, number one, BBC. I don't trust the BBC because they're British, and the British have been coming and they colonized Kenya. They've been coming and stealing. They come basically control us. El Chapo and Deputy Jesus. Why Kenya's president has so many nicknames? BBC, I don't trust BBC, obviously, because they're the colonizers. So, even his name, William, is from the British. So, we don't trust. What is Kenya's President William's many? Oh, the deputy chicken seller. This is profound anger. Kenyans are finishing. You have given me so many names. I had the name. You added Savannah. Before he was elected president in 2022, Ruto attracted handles that bolstered his reputation as a man of the people. Hustler. He was a true born hustler. Kenyan parlance of someone helped that. Okay, so he came out as a person who was struggling, and he didn't have a political reputation like everyone else. So people saw him as, okay, if he's a hustler like that, then he can come in and hustle for the people. That's what this article is saying, right? This is just the BBC. Again, we don't just follow what we hear from just because it's the BBC. I'm not a follower. I'd really go against the crowd, really. So I like to read things for myself. Chicken seller, referring to when he hawked. Hustler, man. He came from the side of second selling chickens. Now he's the president. Powerful. Though very powerful. They sold him to the public in terms of votes. Okay. Names really stick with Ruto, he added. Okay. In 2013, a court ordered Ruto to surrender a 100-acre farm and compensate farmer who had accused him of grabbing it during the 2007 post-election violence. He denied any wrongdoing. So in 2013, a court ordered Ruto to surrender. So apparently he came in and took someone's land, allegedly. Allegedly, you have to say that word, because Ruto said he denied any wrongdoing. If he's taken someone's land, that's not okay. Of quoting Ruto's penchant for quoting Bible verses older. Of course, if you quote Bible verses in a place like Africa, of course that's going to get you far. One thing I do want to notice, do you remember, the reason why I've got a lot of attacks, I've got a lot of abuse, is because I don't like to go with the crowd. I always like to say, when you go with the crowd, so majority of people are average. This might be hard to hear for people, but majority of people in life, okay. Just want to make sure. Okay. So majority of people in life are average, right? So even in the Bible, there's a Bible verse actually, because you guys may quote me, but there's a Bible verse. Hey, ChatGPT, can you give me the Bible verse where it talks about when basically the majority of people follow the crowd, and then there's a very group of people who go one way? Can you just give me that Bible verse? I always, because I study the Bible quite a lot. I grew up going to church, and so I know I've done my history a lot. Let's see what it says. Yes, enter the narrow, enter through the narrow gate. For wide is the gate, and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate, and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. So what the Bible is basically saying, if you hear Matthew 7 verse 13 in the storytelling, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. So what that's saying is many people in life, they follow the crowd. People just blindly follow what other people are saying. They blindly follow the crowd. That's why you see a lot of average people. People just go and get a job. They go to university because they're told to. They go and just follow. And that's the road to destruction. The reason why it says it's the road to destruction is because internally those people are not necessarily happy. They're just following what the crowd says. And so because in life we're used to fitting in, we're used to just fitting into a group. We're used to just fitting in. So we follow the crowd. But when you follow the crowd, that leads to destruction. Like it says here, I usually like to take the path of, I like to follow my own path. When I see the crowd going one way, I usually go the other way. So most people follow the crowd, which is, again, the road to destruction. I really like to look. So even in this situation with the Ukrainian President Ruto, the same way we give a story of Donald Trump. Now, a few years ago, a lot of you Gen Z may not remember this, may you do remember this. Donald Trump, in his first, when he was going for polls against Hillary Clinton, the media and everybody was against Donald Trump. My goodness. If you were seeing what was happening, they were calling him racist. They were calling him a bad person. You would never have thought Donald Trump was going to win that election. My goodness. Even me, I was here. I was following the crowd. I was just following what people were saying. Yes, I would see clips in the media. I would look at the media because the media is the one who gives you the news, right? So you follow the media. So I'd follow the media. I'd listen to what other people say. He's racist. He's a bad person. Da, da, da. Of course, he said controversial things, but I started to go on the path where I started to think for myself, and I started to say, wait a minute. What he's saying, he's not really racist. He may come out and say, I don't want illegal immigrants coming in my country. I don't want this. But I was always, he's racist, he's a bad person, he's saying this against women. Da, 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 da. Barack Obama was always the good guy. Barack Obama spoke so well. He was, the man for the people. But Barack Obama, when I look at the Democratic history, I'm like, wait a minute. Barack Obama, his party was never for the people. Yes, he's from Kenya, but he was never for the people. You look at the Democratic history, you look at what's happening in Ukraine and Russia right now. The Democratic Party, which are the ones behind him, the banks, the corporates are the ones who control Barack Obama. Those are the people, even now, when Biden was there, giving Ukraine weapons, forcing a war, supporting a war. So, Barack Obama was never as he intended to be in the media. As majority of people were saying Barack Obama was the good guy. Barack Obama, majority. Again, when you follow the crowd, that's the crowd that leads to destruction. So this case with William Ruto, I'm not saying William Ruto is a good guy. I'm not saying he's the perfect guy. I'm not saying he even should be there. I am just questioning, and I am looking at things for facts. I am looking at the situation. Again, I get very suspicious when most people go one way. Because again, like I just told you, most people go in the crowd of destruction, like it says here in this Bible verse. So that's very, very important to notice. And I really, really want to say that because it's quite powerful. And again, a lot of people may abuse me. A lot of people may find controversy in what I'm saying, but it's just facts, right? So let's have a look. Let's go on more. Okay. So what is the BBC, which is the colonizers? What more do they have to say? Let's have a look. 1 second, guys. Okay. So Ruto's penchant for quoting Bible verses. Jesus Taki has also been given the name of Nabi, a prophet. So one thing potentially what helped him get in the election was he is very well spoken. So as a politician, like you see me here presenting myself, I'm very well spoken. I could easily become a politician. So that's why I guess it's saying Kenyan people voted for him. Okay, let's have a look. However, it is since his rise to the presidency that his nickname manufacturers have been working overtime with the list of doesn't being created. So basically, they're talking about how people have been abusing him. One that has Zacchaeus, so I leave the names. Zacchaeus, a Bible figure, biblical figure who was portrayed as greedy. Oh my days! Read this. One and people are creative. A biblical figure who is portrayed as a greedy tax collector who climbed the tree to see Jesus. And then, guys, I want you to remember what I just said earlier. I want you to remember what I said earlier, because this is very, very important. I really, really want you to guys remember what I said earlier. The crowd goes one way. Now, let's go back to another story. Back in the Bible of Jesus. The story of Jesus in the Bible. For those of you guys who know, for those of you guys who have read the Bible, Jesus was hated. Do you guys know that? He had followers, like William Ruto has had followers, and how he got into presidency, because he wouldn't have got to where he is if he didn't have followers, if he didn't have people who supported where he is. Jesus had followers, but he was hated by majority of people. That is why they crucified him. Jesus was killed. He was hung up on the cross because he was telling people that he was God. He was telling people that he's the Son of God. And people, the pharaohs, all the good people were like, how dare this guy come in and say he's Jesus? How dare him? He's a liar. He's da-da-da. They crucified Jesus. They killed him. He was hated. They beat him. You guys know the story. If you don't know the story, well, go and do your research. Jesus was hated. If you were living in the times of Jesus, you're reading the Bible, say, praise Jesus, praise Jesus. That's how you're reading the Bible. Praise Jesus, praise him. But if you were back in those times, you would have also been like, you would have crucified him. You would have been the crowd, which majority. His disciples were the ones, even some of his disciples betrayed him, but his disciples were the ones who stuck by him and were like, no, we stick with this guy. He's Jesus, right? So remember that. I want you to remember that. Jesus, by majority of the crowd, was hated. Donald Trump, majority of the crowd, was hated. William Ruto, I'm not saying William Ruto is a good guy, but majority of the crowd, hated. You guys see a pattern. Okay, let's keep going. Ruto's government introduced a raft of unpopular taxes, and many Kenyans began to say that he had betrayed the hustlers. He failed to deliver after becoming president. Why did he fail to deliver? The pain of paying more taxes and the perception that extra money will be wasted is a focus of many conversations. Let's start off with that conversation right there. So basically they're saying, because he's come out and said, which people are referencing here, the finance bill, he went and said, I want to raise more taxes. And the pain of paying more taxes and a perception that extra money will be wasted. So let's break that down. William Ruto has come out and said, I want to do the finance bill because if we want to raise more taxes. Why do we want to raise more taxes? So if we raise taxes on the people who are already paying, who already have jobs, who are already earning money, if we can raise more taxes, those taxes can come in and feed the economy, because those people already have jobs, those people already have businesses. So if we raise the taxes on those people, that money we can use to now help the economy, jobs, and let's help the economy, let's help the country. Now, it says that there was a perception that the extra money will be wasted. So now, let's say if he's the president and he's saying, I want to raise more taxes, right? Because like in a lot of Western countries, you go to places like Denmark, Sweden, if you go to those places, the taxes are quite high. You go to Denmark, Sweden, the taxes are very, 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 very high. Right? You raise more taxes. If we can get more tax dollars, Australia, same, UK, the same. If we raise more taxes, we can get more money into the economy. So people were mad at that because people are saying, well, we barely people have any jobs. We're struggling here. Like things are bad. Things are tough. The economy is tough. The cost of living is tough. Everywhere in the world, by the way, the cost of living is higher. Places like Australia, the cost of living is higher. Everywhere, the cost of living is higher. So you know, you want to raise the tax, bro. We're already struggling. Well, how else are we going to get better? How else are we going to improve the economy if we don't raise the taxes? if we don't have to keep borrowing money, which he has done, I'll give you the figures. William Ruto has borrowed over 900 billion Kenya shillings from outside, loaning. So I've had, and people are saying, well, you've borrowed 900 billion. Where has this money gone to? That's a topic that we're going to get to. So instead of us keep borrowing money from people, let's raise the taxes for the people who are already earning an income. It doesn't matter if you're working here on the street or if you have $1 million business. If we raise the taxes, we can get more money circulating through the economy. So a lot of people now will say, well, you're wasting that money because if you take those taxes, you're going to keep that money and put it in your pocket, which is a very great point. But at the end of the day, if he is doing that, if he is getting the money from the taxpaying dollars and he's putting it in his pocket or feeding his boys and, going out, doing his thing, going out, getting private jets, partying, doing his thing, whatever he wants to do, making himself rich, then that is wrong. And you will be accounted for. You will be punished. You will be voted out. You will be found out because everything you do in the darkness gets exposed to the light. So if I have come into presidency 2-3 years, let's ask ChatGPT real quickly. Hey ChatGPT, how long has William Ruto been president of Kenya? Let's find out. I do my research. Since 2002. So he's been in there for 3 years. Wait, security, beating, running up. So no, he has been in office for 2 years and 8.5 months. Hey ChatGPT, so he's been in there for 2 years and 8.5 months. When did he introduce the tax bill to get people to pay higher tax? Let's find out. Let's do the facts. Again, everything. The first major initiative was the Finance Bill 2023. The bill proposed tax increases, VAT on fuel, blah, 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 money transfers, housing levy. In May 2024, the government introduced the Finance Bill 2024, aiming to raise 346 billion to address debt obligation and fund development projects. Okay, so he brought the Finance Bill in 2024, so only last year. So that's if he came into presidency. When did he come into presidency? He came into presidency in 2022, and he introduced the Finance Bill just 2 years later. So he just introduced it literally last year to say, hey, we have so much debt, US, China, we have so much debt, and we want to start to fund development projects. We want to start to fund the roads. We want to help the healthcare, help the economy grow. So that's why we need to do the tax bill. So he just introduced it. When he introduced the bill, now people were mad. People were angry. People were saying, we're struggling and you're introducing this bill. Well, we need to change something because we've been struggling for time. He came into presidency only in 2022. Before he was president, they were already in debt. There was already things not funded. There was already struggle. Corruption has been there for such a long time. So in any change, you need to do something. We got to do something here. I got to introduce something to change something, bro. What the hell? We've been in debt. We've been struggling for so long. There's been no jobs since I've come in. That's why you guys elected me. I'm the hustler, which you guys have named him, which we are reading here in this article. You guys have been calling me this hustler. You guys have been saying this. Well, I need to do something. And in life, in anything in life, in change, of course it's going to be, people are going to be mad. Anything that comes with change, we've seen it in history. All the great people who've introduced something, like Jesus, we gave an example of, like things have happened, we need to introduce change. Something has to change. But now people get mad. So last year, young people came out onto the streets for Nairobi for weeks of protest, which turned deadly, against a fresh government proposal to raise taxes that was later dropped. So let's now address that, and now a lot of people will get mad. He's come and said, we need to do a finance bill. We need to raise the taxes so we can get out of debt and we can start to fund things. Because the more we keep borrowing money, we can't keep borrowing money. So I need to introduce something that's going to help us borrow money. Again, people's concerns are that he's stealing the money. Again, if you're stealing the money and you've just introduced it in 2024, he just got elected in 2022, so there was no finance bill before that. He's just got elected in. The presidents before him have been stealing money, so nothing has changed. So you guys have been living the same way. So that's facts, and you know that's facts. People are you guys know corruption's been there for a long time. So don't try and pretend like he's the only one who's been like. If he's been the only one he's doing corruption, I'm sure there's always corruption. Even you yourself, if you were in there, you're calling him liar, liar, liar. All of you guys are liars. Even me, I'm a liar. I've had family in my face. I've seen them. They lie to my face. You all are liars. So that's number one. Corruption's been there. So cool. I want to change things. I want to introduce this finance bill. No one has given him time. Straight away, this article says, straight away when he did that, people come in and they start protesting. This is going to be very controversial. Why are you protesting? Why? Even that whole thing of protesting. Young people, it says young people came out on the streets to protest. Now, I have an issue with this now because if you're a young person, you are the new generation. We live in a day and age where you can work anywhere from the world. As I sit here right now, I have a team in Kenya, all young people who I pay my Australian dollars. I pay them because they're hustlers. My team, they're hustlers. I pay them my Australian dollars. So you young people can work from anywhere in the world. You have Wi-Fi, you have technology, there's no excuses, you can go out and get it. Why are you going and protesting? Shouldn't you be saying, okay, this guy's introducing high taxes? Well, why don't we go to get our hustle on? Why don't we go and put on our hustle? We can get more income. If we're going to pay more tax, we can pay more tax. Fuck it. If you're earning more money, they're telling me 25% of tax. All right, cool. Let me just go earn more money. Yes, they'll take a little bit of tax. Yeah, it's annoying. In Australia, they tax us here. They tax us. In Denmark, they tax high. In everywhere, they tax high. So just go out and earn more money. Go out and have financial structures. You know, in a lot of places, we have financial structures where you don't have to pay as much tax, but you still pay tax. So go out and hustle. Don't go out and protesting. What are you protesting for? Protesting is just for idle people, just protesting on the street. For what? For what in? Go and hustle. So why are you protesting? That's number one. That's even my thing. They're even in America. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Let's go protest. Why? Those people, they're laughing at you. They say, look at these people here protesting. It doesn't change anything. There's nothing going to change. You're just there protesting. And even in America, in Kenya, all protests, they even end up in violence anyway. A lot of protesters, they come, they're idle. They don't have jobs, so they're idle. But you can't blame the government. There's no government that's going to feed you. Even here in Australia, of course, we have government benefits. You know, Australia is there's those systems, but it's not even enough anyway. So there's no government that's going to save you anyway. Even if he was a good president, even if the system, there's still problems. There's no government that saves you. You can only save yourself. So even let me just dispel that right here, right now. Okay. Again, that's going to cause me a lot of trouble. People are going to get mad, but I'm just saying the truth. So they went out and protested, and he dropped it because I guess he got a lot of protests. So the chant "Ruto must go" became a rallying call for the demonstrators. Hence the title Vasco da Gama, a play on the name from the Portuguese, which means to lie. Here we go. Another topic. So they're calling him a liar, and again in the Bible, let me not talk. ChatGPT, can you give me that Bible verse where Jesus goes and he's talking to the pharaohs, and the pharaohs are abusing the prostitute, and they're abusing her, and then he says, "Which one of you has not sinned?" Give me that Bible verse, please. I need to break it down for you folks. Let's go. Give me. John 8 verse 3:11. Again, I know my Bible. For those of you guys know. When they kept on questioning him, he straightened up and said to them, "Let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." So she was caught. I guess she was being, in nowadays technology, or the term they call her, she was being a thought. She was being modern technology. She was being a hoe. She was, committing adultery. They tried to trap Jesus. Again, they hated Jesus, just like they hate William Ruto. This just like they hate Donald Trump, just like they hate people like Andrew Tate. This just like they hate all these people later on. They call Jesus later on. Now they say praise Jesus, but back then they didn't like Jesus. They used to hate Jesus. So, which all of you guys are praising Jesus, but back then people were hating him. They tried to trap Jesus by asking if she stoned according to the law of Moses. Jesus responded with wisdom, challenging their hypocrisy. One by one, they leave, and Jesus told the woman, "Neither do I condemn you. Go now, live your life of sin." But basically, they said, Let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her. So a lot of you people are coming out and calling William Ruto, he's a liar, he's a liar, he's a liar. But all of you here who are watching this, you're all liars. Even me, I'm a liar. I've lied many times and I still lie to this day. I told you earlier, I have family I've seen in my face, they've lied to me. I've been there with them, I've been in a situation with them, and I watched with my own eyes, and then they've lied to my face. Then those are the same people who are calling William Ruto a liar. You also are the same people who are calling William Ruto a liar. There's people out there, we're all liars. So that argument, dispel, because you're a liar. You're focusing on someone else's life and you're calling this person's a liar and you're a liar yourself. So that's facts. Ruto's honesty has also been called into question with, I don't know who that is, musician. The first part refers to the president's love. He loves his suit. But the president seems imposed to the body, verbal attack, government spokesman don't raise concerns in office. Ruto is very hands-on. Okay, so the government spokesperson, Isaac Muara, let's find out who this guy is. Because a lot of you guys will say, well, that's his buddy, that's his buddy. This guy, they'll be there. He's a current government spokesman for Kenya. Okay, so he's a government spokesman for Kenya. He's gone and said that Ruto is very hands-on and he's doing his best to transform the economy. What did I just say earlier? I said the only way we can transform the economy is by doing something different, is by doing something that's never been done before. Anything in life that's never been done before, well, let me ask ChatGPT because you guys may abuse me. Hey ChatGPT, the finance bill introduced by William Ruto in 2024, has that been ever done before? Has anyone ever introduced something like that before? This ChatGPT, this is AI, guys. This is better than any computer out there. Kenya has periodically introduced finance bills. Bro, you didn't answer my question. I said, has anyone introduced something like this before? ChatGPT just talking anyhow. No. Kenya has never seen a finance bill quite like the one introduced by William Ruto in 2024. So, no one, anytime something has never been done before, it's always criticized. Every time something has never been done before, it's always been criticized. That's facts. Again, I just told you the story of Jesus. In those days, there was never anyone who came like Jesus, who came with his swag, who talked like the way Jesus talked. Never anyone, no one had ever done that. He was the Son of God. He called himself Jesus, and they crucified Jesus. The way you people are there protesting on the street, the same way they were crucifying Jesus. People on the street were hanging him on the cross, crucifying him. Anytime nothing has never been done before, it has been criticized. People have attacked it. So that's facts. So don't raise the. So he's doing his best to transform the economy. We need to transform the economy. We need to transform it. And like I told you, if he's doing a tax bill and he's taking the money in, you're going to get found out. Because if he's just introduced it, you haven't given him time to lay it out. You've just gone and started protesting straight away. Idle people on the street. You're not working. You're bored. Instead of going out and hustling and focusing on your own life, focusing on politics, focusing on the government, focusing on you're not hustling. Again, I told you I have a team in Kenya who I pay from Australia. We live in the greatest era to be alive. So people are going and protesting straight away, and they're not even giving this time to let's see if this even works. Again, like I told you guys from the beginning, most people follow the crowd. Most people follow the crowd. Me, I've learned, and that's why I'll be criticized. That's why I'll be a billionaire. That's why I'll be who I am being. That's why I'm here on Twitch live instead of me chilling, instead of me watching Netflix and relaxing. That's why I'm here doing this, because I go against the crowd. I don't do what everyone else does. Like most people will be doing now. Most people will be chilling, going out, hanging out, drinking. I don't do most of the crowd. So, yeah, we got to change something, right? It's normal for any leader to have, also argue the government. Okay, this guy, maybe you guys will attack him. I don't know who he is, but I've just Googled him here. This albino guy, very interesting. Has also argued that the government has had to raise taxes to pay for new projects to resist. What did I just say? We have to reduce the budget deficit and fix the economy. We keep borrowing money from the outside. So people before William Ruto have been borrowing money. That's what they do. Oh, we're in trouble. Let's just go and borrow money. And then when you go and borrow money from China, US, what happens? You're still a slave. Anyone who you're borrowing money from, you're still a slave. So you're still colonized. Because you'll keep borrowing money like that, you're not paying them back. So those people come in and be like, the UK, the UK, US, they'll be like, all right, bro, give them money. But when we want them, they just come into your country. Yo, give us your land. You know what I'm saying? The Chinese, give us your land. That's what they do. They come in, yo, we need to go to war. Take some of your boys, take them to war. But if we want to stand for ourselves, if we want to be our own country, we got to be, okay, let's raise the taxes, let's get money, and then we can fund things ourselves. We can do things. We can go and put jobs in. We get money from people who already have jobs. We take that money and let's go and grind. That's how we self-funded. And you've seen a lot of attacks on William Ruto, BBC documentaries, BBC Help documentaries. Well, of course, the British, of course, those other countries, they don't want us to do the finance bill. Of course, they don't want us to raise the finance bill because they're going to be like, well, they're not going to keep borrowing money from us, and we want them borrowing money from us. So, you see a pattern? They're just talking about how people are roasting him. Okay, now this is the problem that we have. Some cartoons, a 23-year-old said while he supported the president, some of the promises he made have been unrealistic, which was an example. He cited the use of El Chapo, referring, drug lord. They're calling him a drug lord. However, reckons that the way the president jumps, Mr. Kibilo, and this is the BBC, guys. Remember, these are the colonizers. These are the outside media. So you don't want to trust them, but they're just kind of giving what's happening within the country. So they're saying Mr. Kipilimpo, however, reckons that the way the president brushes off the monikers. What does that mean? I'm doing research. What does this mean? So most majority of people, they'll read something like that and they wouldn't even find out what that means. Okay, aliases. Okay. Most of the aliases, and in fact seems to embrace them, showing how strong he is. So William Ruto right now is like, y'all keep talking bad about me. Y'all keep hating on me. All right, cool. I'll embrace it. Even me, I'm the same. People keep talking. I've heard people talk behind my back. I've heard it. Family, other people, they talk behind my back. Let me embrace that. But hey, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be in your face. I'm going to be the president. You ain't got an option. Anyway, Prof. Mignora believes the young people who came up with the... So mostly you young people, guys. So this is mostly young people, which is quite disappointing because young people, you should be smarter than this. Again, maybe social media, you're worrying about a president, you're coming up with nicknames for a president and you're broke. Doesn't make sense. Prof. Minora believes the young people who came on the term as president, who said that many Kenyans are in a lot of pain, which I understand. She feels that the mockery is a way of letting Ruto know the youth are feeling. If you're feeling very bad, go out and hustle. And I don't want to hear, I get it, bro. There's struggle. You may look at me, oh, you have an accent, you're from Australia, I go through struggles all the time. Even right now, I'm going through struggles. But I embrace it. I know that there's no government who's going to save me. I know if I'm going through struggles, I can't blame the government and I can't start coming up with nicknames and talking about, oh, the government is bad. The government, he's raising the taxes. I don't even have money. Why am I talking about the government raising the taxes? Which taxes he did tax me now? Which taxes is he going to raise on me? I don't have money. So why am I complaining? I got to go out and hustle. I live in a day and age where I can get jobs from all around the world. I can go on Upwork. I can go and learn a skill so well that I can go and get a job that can feed me, that if I need to pay tax, I'm earning Australian dollars, I'm learning US dollars. If they got to tax a little bit of my money, okay, cool, fuck it. Shit, I'm getting paid. At least I'm getting paid. So stop coming up with names. So I disagree with Margaret Wurmer. I disagree with Margaret Wimakuro, who said that, yes, you feel a lot of pain, but go out and make something happen. She says that no other Kenyan president has been subject to this level of lampooning, so this is unique, but in a bad way. What did I say? So no other Kenyan president has been criticized like this. Why? Because most other Kenyan presidents, what they were doing was just like, oh yeah, hey guys, you guys don't have to pay much tax. Let's borrow money from the UK. Let's borrow money from here. Let's put that money in our pocket. You know what I'm saying? Let's take our kids to private school. You know what I'm saying? Let's enjoy the money. We're not gonna raise taxes on you guys. You guys are doing good. Let's not go raise money on them. But they're just stealing from you anyway. There's nothing happened. I've been in Kenya 10 years. Still see roads the same bad. I've seen some improvements, but I still see, so the other presidents, maybe they've just been pocketing. Corruption's always been there, but they just never introduced something like a tax bill, because a tax bill is different. A tax bill is going to be say, yo, we don't need to borrow money from the outside. So it's unique. This is been the worst hate they've got, that she's saying. But the reason why, because anytime there's new change, anytime something new that's come up, people are always going to hate it. And that's just a fact. That's a fact. It is true that previous leaders, head of state, had nicknames that have never been so numerous. The last president was called, can you imagine, this is the BBC, they're basically laughing at Kenya. They're like, they're basically writing an article on how people have been giving the presidents nicknames, and this president has been giving bad nicknames. The last president was called young boy, a lazy child. One thing about Kenyans, you guys are very good at coming up with nicknames. You're very good at abusing people. You're very good at, roasting people. But I don't see much of a solution. His predecessor was known as perhaps the age of social media with the essential app for new content. Okay, so that was basically the article on why they believe William Ruto's a bad guy. Okay, what does ChatGPT say? William Ruto has been a prominent figure serving as a deputy under introducing Kalenjin community. Ruto has faced allegations of corruption and improper conduct, although these have not resulted in formal charges of convictions. And then people will say, well, of course, if he's the president, why would he get convicted? Which I understand too. If I'm the president, it happened in America. Donald Trump was running for office. Guys, think about this. Think about this. Donald Trump, the same thing happened to Donald Trump. You see this article here? Ruto has faced allegations of corruptions and improper conduct, although these have not resulted in formal charges or convictions. Again, people will say to me, well, he's the president. Why would he convict himself? Which I understand exactly. Why would he convict himself? But the same thing happened to Donald Trump. For those of you who don't know, they took Donald Trump to court? I think Donald Trump was even convicted. They took that man to court. They took him, they even tried the same thing you guys are talking about, Ruto. They took Donald Trump to court. Do you see the pattern of what I'm saying? They took Donald Trump to court. Even, I believe he was even, they raided his house. And where is he now? He's still the president. Because, like I said, what you do in the dark will expose to the light. They even tried to come to Donald Trump because, other extra stuff. Let's keep going. Ruto stands on economic policies, including tax and finance bill, has been a subject of debate. His positions such as tax reforms, exactly what I just talked about. Ruto's ambitions to ascend the presidency have been evident, shaping his political community. His approach to governance and leadership has been scrutinized. Media coverage and public perception play a key. Of course. Guys, people will say to me, well, you don't know about politics. You don't know about Kenyan politics. Hey, this is ChatGPT. Can you argue with AI? AI has done its research, baby. AI has done its research. So, what does this say right here, right now? Media coverage and public perception play a significant role in shaping opinions about political figures in Kenya. So the media, whoever reports the media, is the one who tells you your perception. Do you remember when they were telling us, COVID is bad, COVID, go get a vaccine, COVID. The media was telling you, and 98% of people were saying COVID. Even me, I hate to admit this. I hate to admit this with all my heart. I went and because I was listening to people. I was listening to other people around me. I was listening to people in my environment. I went and got a vaccine. Who knows what they're putting in my body? And then turns out to find out COVID was cap. COVID was rubbish. It was rubbish. So all those people were doing all these things of COVID. Then, like a year later, everyone who didn't have a vaccine, they were still let into countries. Imagine, people were still let into countries even if they didn't have a vaccine. So they were doing all this rubbish of don't come into the country if you don't have a vaccine. But then a year later, they were letting people with a vaccine because they were like, come on, bro, like it's okay, it's gone basically. And people with vaccines were still getting COVID because the media. So majority of you people are just following the media and you're not thinking for yourself. Very sad. Now, I want to address the other topic ChatGPT hasn't talked about. Kidnappings and, people who have spoken out against him have been kidnapped, have been, some have been maybe murdered. That is horrible. I do not condone any violence against someone who's even speaking out loud. No violence should happen to anyone that's been speaking like that. That's horrible. That should never happen to people. Ever, 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 ever. And if it's him, his call, who's been doing it, you shall be punished. Anything you do in the light will be in darkness. You shall be punished if you've been kidnapping people. I don't support that at all. But if he's not, if that's people within whatever, if you've been doing that, that's wrong and you should be punished for that. And condolences for the people who did lose their lives. Sorry for the people who were kidnapped. If he is a part of that, he will be exposed and he shall be punished. He shall be punished. But if he's not involved with that, which again, guilty is, you can't put someone guilty without putting them through a due process. Those are all allegations. He hasn't been convicted for it. Do you know how many people have been wrongfully convicted? Do you know how many people where all the evidence shows it's them, it wasn't actually them? So many people sitting in prison right now. So don't come out and that's alleged. So maybe I've dispelled a lot of what you guys have been complaining and yapping about. If you have any other comments and you have any other thoughts, feel free to let me know. This is not a dictatorship. I'm here to talk. I'm here to, see what you guys are talking about. But I just dispelled every single thing that you guys are talking about. And my advice for you, Ruto, take your African name. Let's use this name. This sounds better than William. Don't give those British your name. That William, don't give them your name. This name sounds so much better. Leave the British name. We need a Kenyan president with a Kenyan name. Kipichiri Samuel Arap Ruto. That's the type of name I want. You were a hustler. You came from the street selling chicken. You came from the street. You were underestimated. Just like me, you were underestimated. They told you you were crazy. You were crazy. How you think you're going to become a president? How you think you're going to become a president? Huh? You were selling chickens on the road. Who do you think you are? How you think you're going to become president? I get you. I've been doubted myself. Even in my own family, people doubt me. They look at me, oh, what's this guy doing on social media? I've been underestimated like you, so I understand that. I get it. I understand what it's like to be in your shoes. Then the same way, 2-3 years from now, 2 months from now, a week from now, my family, other people, gonna be like, oh yeah, we always knew Sugira. Well, I mean, we've been knew that. I've been the chosen one. We've been knew that. But still, people will be coming out, oh yes, we knew. Oh yes, the people who've been talking shit, who talk shit about me. Oh yes, Sugira. But I seen the way you're talking shit about me. I seen the way you looked at me in public. I seen the way when I was with you, I'd be talking the way I was talking, and you looked at me like that. I seen it. I seen everything. So William, let me not call you William because I like your Kenyan name. Kipichiridi Ruto, I understand you. I get it. So guys, let me know what you guys think. Comment below and let's talk about it.
If you really enjoyed this video, make sure to click here and I'm sure you're going to love that one.